Tracy Miller is a public speaker that has graciously joined us today to provide her insight on what she's learned in her career. You have, I believe I passed out a bio, but I want to give you just a little quick synopsis of what she has done. I did read it, sometimes I don't. I did read yours, Tracy. I did read yours. Tracy is an Orange County Assistant District Attorney who is also a successful motivational speaker for clients such as Boeing, the Angels, Orange County Department of Education, and Ford Motor Company. She began her career as a law clerk for prosecutors Marsha Clark and Christopher Darden on the O.J. Simpson case, which I found fascinating. She has received a Medal of Valor from the Orange Police Department, as well as an Ambassador of Peace Award. Tracy has made presentations on team building, public speaking, and building relationships in the workplace. She comes highly recommended by local agencies as well as large private corporations due to her energetic, positive, and motivating coaching techniques. Please join me in welcoming Tracy Miller to the stage.
I had a hot pink phone, and I spent extra for this plastic hot pink phone at Thrifty's to get a long cord so that I could walk all four corners of my studio apartment when I was in law school. Does anybody remember Thrifty's? The great ice cream? They had great phone extensions. It was a day in March, and I remember it was a beautiful spring afternoon, and that hot pink phone rang, and on the other end was a man offering me a job as an Orange County Deputy District Attorney, something I struggled for years. And I was so excited. I had a futon because that's all I could afford. And I jumped up and down on my futon, and he's like, I'd like to offer you, would you like to? And I said, yes. And then I thought, oh crap, I'm probably supposed to sound like a lawyer. I'm just kidding, can I think about it? Oh, who's kidding? Yes! I was so excited, and I hung up that phone. And I jumped up and down on my futon, but the apartment I was in, I was so poor, the walls were so thin that all my neighbors heard me yelling by myself. And they came over, and we had cooked champagne. It was awesome! I don't think I've ever felt so much joy in getting this job that I worked so hard for. Where were you? Where were you when you got the job you have today? Who did you tell first? Do you remember? Did they get that offer? Did it come by phone? I bet none of you had a hot pink phone. Did you get it in letter? Was it in person? Take a minute and remember your very first real job that you wanted, or the job you have today. Do you remember what that felt like? What happens to that feeling? Where does it go? I don't believe that we are meant to be on this earth to live for vacations and retirement. But how much of our time do we spend thinking about vacations and retirement? Right? I had a colleague in the DA's office that passed away last year, 1 year before her retirement. It's not guaranteed, folks. And so much of our work every day, we talk about, oh my gosh, it's only Wednesday or Thursday. Wait until the weekend. When's another holiday? This is a great month, and then we got to go till Memorial Day, right? And then we think about, wow, how can this time pass? Just to calculate when we're going to retire or when we're going to go on vacation. I think there has to be more to life than that. And I believe the trick is getting that joy you felt for that first job in your everyday, or at least every week life, just for a few minutes. Because we cannot live waiting for the future, we have to live now. So this is what I've learned for my life on how to do that. The first thing you have to do is stop judging yourselves. Now, I had a piece of avocado stuck in my tooth when I was sitting with these nice people 5 minutes ago, and I thought, oh crap, can they see it? And then I thought, oh, I ate 2 cookies yesterday. I wonder if they can see it in this dress. And I'm not having a really good hair day. And I don't know if I'm speaking too slow or too fast. Does my voice sound nervous? And I'm always wondering, why did I say that? Especially at work, right? We are always constantly criticizing ourselves in our head, all of us. And if we actually had a tape of what's going on in our heads, we always think people are judging us, but guess what? They're too busy judging themselves. We're always questioning, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Why did I eat that? Why didn't I work out harder? Why didn't I save more money? So the first thing we have to do to make that joy, is be able to laugh at ourselves. That's the very first thing. How do you do that? 10 years ago, I went to the FBI Academy for Prosecutors in North Carolina. It was fabulous. I was selected, and as the only person, they send 1 person a year or 2 people a year from my office, and they go and they videotape me all day long practicing arguments and practicing speaking. And there's coaches that sit there and watch you. It's on federal property, so it's federal government laws. And when you get there, they sit all the prosecutors in our navy blue suits in the room, and they say, we want you to know that everything in this building but your room is taped. We also want you to know that every year, every week, we have prosecutors here, someone does something stupid on tape. Don't do that. I'm kind of an overachiever, goody-goody, so I laugh like, what idiots, who's that gonna be? And then I watched the first day of my videotaping, and I just did not like my hair. It was bad. And to have to see yourself on camera over and over again, I don't know if you guys like it, but I hate it. So I went and got one new round brush. The ladies in the room will understand this. I was traveling, so I wanted to have a cuter flip in front. The other thing you gotta know is that they say if you're not downstairs in the lobby at 8:01, we call the elected official district attorney to tell them that we're sending you home and you wasted the money that your office sent to spend you to this expensive class. So you have to be rear end seat at 8:01, right? Ready to be taped. I had plenty of time. It was 7:25, and I put that round brush in my hair, and I got ready to get dressed, and I tried to take it out. It wouldn't come out. And I'm screaming in the room, jumping up and down. And it wasn't a little brush, it was a big one, like the handle's this big, jumping up and down, trying to get that sucker out. And I'm freaking out because they're gonna call my boss in a few minutes and I can't get the sucker out. And so I finally call downstairs to an FBI agent who says, you did what? And I said, please don't call my boss, I have a big brush stuck in my hair. And I'm jumping up and down, and they say, we can't come to your room, ma'am, it's illegal. You have to come downstairs. They sent the video home to my home office of me in my suit with the brush stuck out, running down the hallway, then down. It took 6 FBI agents to work on that brush to get it out of my hair. And I have to learn. Of course, at the end ceremony, they always said the first day on Monday, they said there's going to be one. I was the one. And on Friday, they play the one. They warned us. They played it for everybody to see. You have to learn to laugh at yourselves. We take ourselves so seriously in our lives. Our lives get so busy. Who still has a home phone? See, who checks those messages, right? You got the home phone, you got the cell phone, you got the personal email, you got the work email, you have the Facebook, you got all the social media that's going on. It's so busy. It seems like the more and more we're supposed to be connected, the less we're connected to ourselves. The less we're connected and the more we forget to laugh at ourselves. Why do we have to be perfect? No one is. Well, we've got to start in our heads practicing that we don't have to be. Who here's on Facebook? Okay, for those of you that aren't, there's a thing on Facebook called Throwback Thursday. Lots of you heard of that? Well, Throwback Thursday is where they send a picture from back in the day of you, or you and a friend, or your friend, and you post it to all your friends to say, oh, wasn't that so cute? Last year, one of my friends from elementary school sent a picture of me that I'd never seen before. It's weird to see a picture of yourself you've never seen before. I was about 9 years old. I'm going to ask all of you to do something for me. Remember, I'm a prosecutor. Will everybody please close your eyes? I won't start till everybody's eyes are closed. Come on. I want you to think of yourself. See, imagine a picture you have seen of yourself somewhere between the ages of 7 and 10 years old. Got the picture in your head? Keep your eyes closed. What are you wearing in that picture? What do you look like? Now I want you to imagine that the child in that picture is standing in front of you today. Now I want you to bend down and look that child in the eyes. And I want you to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the times I told you you weren't good enough. I'm sorry for all the times I let someone else disrespect you. I'm sorry for all the times I didn't treat you or our body well. I'm sorry for not giving you what you need. Now I want you to reach out and I want you to hug that child. Tight. And I want you to look the child in the eyes and say, never again. I got you. We got this. And I want you to take that child by the hand and start to walk away. You can open your eyes. I bought all these books about loving myself, and I threw them away. I don't know what it means when people say love yourself more, have more self-esteem, have more self-confidence. What does that mean? And it's really hard for me not to have that in my head, that constant criticism. It's not hard for me to love that little girl. She's lovable. That's part of you. That child is part of you. Before we can be happier and find joy in our everyday lives, we have to be happier with ourselves. And the first thing we need to do, I have that picture of that little girl. She's now by my scale. She's also at my desk at work and on the flap under my car. Because when I start going crazy about myself and people say, have more self-esteem, have more confidence, love yourself, find more joy, I don't know how to do that, but I do know how to protect that little girl. I do know how to be kinder to her. Think of that child every day, because it's a part of you, and give it what it needs. Because until you do that, you can't do the second step I'm going to ask you to do. Be less judgmental of the people you work with. I want you to imagine for a second your work is like the 100-acre wood in Winnie the Pooh. You guys remember that story? No, come on. Everybody, I think, is like a character. I'm Tigger. Tigger is so annoying. Tigger bounces when Tigger walks. And Tigger is the person at work that always, when the boss asks who can take on extra projects, raises their hand first in the air. I'll do it! I'll do it! You guys know a Tigger, right? Tigger's always the first to volunteer. What happens to the rest of the animals in the woods when Tigger's got too much on their plate? Tigger doesn't finish it, and the rest of everybody else has to pick it up, right? There's Tiggers. You can call each other out when you see them do it the next time. Then lots of lawyers. I'm a prosecutor. Lots of lawyers are an owl. Do you remember Owl in the character? Owl is so smart. Owl wears glasses and educated and crosses his wings in the tree and looks down. And anytime there's a new assignment, new project, a new manager, or a new change at work, Owl says, we tried that in 1972, it's not going to work. I'm going to sit here and tell you that I'm not doing that social media stuff. That's newfangled. I'm not going to change inside. I'm going to watch you all scurry down there and try it, and if anything goes wrong, I'll be the first to tell you, it's not going to work. I told you so. You guys know owls? Oh, we all know owls. The next character is Piglet. Piglet's the smallest animal in the wood, so you have to spend a lot of time making Piglet feel better about Piglet before you can actually get to the project. No, Piglet, the secretaries like you as much as me. Piglet, it's okay, you sounded great at that meeting, you sounded smart. And the problem with Piglet is you spend so much time making Piglet feel better that you forget to work on what you're all there for. What character did I miss? Eeyore! Government at the top, a new city manager, a new prosecutor, a new chief of police. What are we going to do? And the problem with Eeyores, it's so fun to be Eeyore for a minute, but Eeyore collects all kinds of other Eeyores. And Eeyore says there's a cloud way over there, and it might rain someday. We might get furloughed, we might get laid off, they might screw with our retirement. So let's talk about it all the time now. All the time. And what does Eeyore do? He robs the joy. And when I find myself being Eeyore, and I really can be, we can be, all of us are all the characters at some time. You know you're robbing the joy, that feeling of why you like this job and why you wanted it in the first place. We're all supposed to be like Winnie the Pooh. What do you know about Winnie the Pooh? Someone tell me. I can't hear you.
Good outlook.
I can't hear you.
Good outlook.
He's got a great outlook. All he wants is that honey. And he doesn't care that his shirt doesn't fit. He doesn't care. And he's going to eat it all sloppy. And he's going to take and fly a kite and wander randomly and look at the kite and fly it. Because he knows that you have to have more self-love than Tigger. Don't volunteer all the time. It's not attractive. I have to tell myself that all the time. You have to have more self-love than Piglet. Don't make it all about you. It really annoys everybody else in the room, right? You have to not be as negative as Eeyore. And don't be judgmental like Owl, because nobody wants to hear why that isn't going to work when they're trying something new. He also knows the whole point, if you ever look at that childhood story, and I picked the story because we all know the story, is the point of life is to have fun, even at work. Try something crazy new. Don't get stuck in your rut. Don't say, that's not my job, that's her job. How boring and joyless is that? Grow. Even in our government jobs, I've been in this job for 20 years, we've got to grow and change and try new things and not be so judgmental, not be so negative, and have fun. The third thing I think to find that joy is to dream big. I went to law school. I went to Loyola Marymount undergrad. I was a political science major. Any political science majors in the room? It was easy, huh? We're really good writers, poli-sci majors, but it's not that hard. So I got B pluses without really trying, and I was really nice to the professors that helped me get that. So it's time to go to law school. I take the LSAT, and I paid my own way through college, and I didn't have any money to pay for those fancy prep courses. And I got my score, and I was the bottom 10% of the nation. And I applied to Loyola Law School only because that's the only law school I wanted to go to. And I quickly got rejected. I moved back home. I grew up with an alcoholic mother, and she was in the height of it at that time. And the best job I could get was working with a bachelor's degree at the Brea Mall Nordstrom for a year with a really stressful situation at home. And all my friends went off to their first year of law school, all my other poli-sci friends. And I had very little hope. I took the LSAT again, and I got in the bottom 20. And I applied to every ABA accredited school in the state of California. And I got into 2 waitlisted at Loyola. I thought, surely I'm gonna get into Loyola on the first day, and I got rejected the first day that I was at Southwestern Law School. And I studied hard, I was in. I went to law school to be a prosecutor because I believe in fighting for people who can't fight for themselves and giving them a voice. And this was my dream and all I ever wanted to do, so I was such a goody-goody, and I studied so hard. And I got a D+ in criminal law. I went to law school to do criminal law. I got a C- in everything else, and I was on academic probation. My contracts professor told me I'll never be a lawyer. My torts professor told me, drop out now, you're $33,000 in debt. We only graduate half of you. You're not going to make it. I have no lawyers in my family. I was the first in my family to go to college. And I thought, crap, these law school professors back then, I thought they were a big deal. And they knew everything. My torts professor gave me a tutor. I had to pay him $25 an hour on 22% interest on my Visa card. But he sat with me and he taught me how to do it smarter. He was an Orange County District Attorney law clerk. I thought that was so cool. He was a 3rd year, I was a 1st year. He had a job at the Orange County DA's office. I said, I'm going to do that job someday. And he said, yeah, not with these grades. I was told no over and over again. I was told I was not smart enough. I was told I was not good enough. And I was told by people I trusted and I paid that I wasn't going to make it. I got off academic probation, barely, and I applied to every free labor job to be a law clerk everywhere in the state of California my first year, my first summer. And I got back to Nordstrom because those grades didn't get me there. Then the dean sent me on an interview. She said, I know you've never even seen this inside of the DA's office. I know you want to be one so badly. I don't think you'll ever be one. But I'm going to send you on a job interview at the LA DA's office. I can't tell you what it's for. I sat in the hallway. I had to borrow my navy blue suit because remember I had the futon and the pink phone. I was so poor. And I thought there were people from Stanford and Harvard and Yale in the hallway. And I thought, one of us is not like the others. And my interview was with Christopher Darden, who was the lead prosecutor on the O.J. Simpson case. He wasn't on the case yet on the cameras. He was behind the scenes. It was after the preliminary hearing, right before the trial. I just think that I found out it was the O.J. case, and I thought, I'm not getting this. So I think I was just myself, and I can be a little smart aleck and funny if I think that, oh, whatever, I'm not getting this. So I think I was just myself. And he's like, let me see your grades. Stanford and Yale were in the hallway. And I showed him my D+, and he said, those are the grades I got. I'll take you. I got the job because I got a D. How does that happen? I was the first law clerk on the O.J. Simpson case. I worked for Marcia Clark the last year of the case, and Christopher Darden the first 6 months. I learned so much, nothing about law, a lot about people, on how to get along with people and how to work in a high-stress people environment. And I can tell you, every single person on that case cared that 2 people were beheaded and gave life and time and energy to the fact that 2 people were brutally beheaded. It was an amazing experience. But Marcia and Chris kept telling me I wanted to do traffic trials on Fridays to get some real experience. And I swear, they said, we're going to win this case and everybody's going to hire you. And of course we lost, so thank goodness I did the traffic trials. I graduated in the bottom 20% of my class, but I got off academic probation. But by the time I was a third year interviewing for jobs, I had had 300 preliminary hearings, 2 jury trials, and a ton of traffic trials. I had more experience than I think anybody had ever seen because I worked my way out of it. I got job offers from LA, Ventura, San Diego, Orange County, Riverside DA's office. I was the first supervisor in my class, promoted, I've been there 20 years, and I've been promoted first in my class with my class every time. And it has nothing, and I got hired people from Harvard and Yale. It all matters on how hard you work and how you treat other people, and that's really all it is. And trying to find that joy every day. Fun side fact, that guy that was my tutor, I became his boss. You just don't know in life. You gotta dream big. I'm an interview coach. I help police officers and firefighters and millennials interview for promotional interviews. And what I find is no one remembers to dream. What do you want? Just because you're in this job doesn't mean we stop dreaming. Maybe your dream isn't your job. Maybe your dream is your vacation that you're planning for, or some party you want to throw. But why do we forget to dream? And we get like robots living till the weekend. Or we get like robots talking about our retirement every day. Recalculate. Do you guys have the calculators? We calculate in the hallways. This year or that month or that time, which is okay. But we're still here. We've got to be alive. So dream big. Don't judge yourself. Stop judging others and dream big. And the last thing is be alive. My mother had me at 19. She was pregnant and unmarried. And my grandfather had died. On the night of the funeral, she told my grandmother, who had just lost her husband, that she was unmarried and pregnant with me. So my grandmother found herself never written a check before in her life. 4 children, her youngest pregnant, 19, unmarried. She became like a second mother to me. We were so close. She taught me so much. In 2008, on January, New Year's Day, my home phone rang. I upgraded from pink now that I'm a prosecutor. And my home phone rang, And no good news comes on New Year's Day at 8 in the morning, right? It was Mission Hospital saying that my grandmother had a stroke. She was still conscious, but she was paralyzed in her tongue, so she couldn't speak. She was 96 years old. She lived such a great long life. My mother and my grandmother had a deal that if my grandmother could possibly die at home, she would help her to do that. We went to the hospital. My mom just wasn't ready. They were very close to. All the social workers and nuns that came to talk to my mom to say, you gotta get ready, you gotta get hospice. They're gonna kick her out of this hospital. My mom wasn't ready to hear it. She wasn't ready to let her mother go. On day 5 after my grandmother's stroke, I was walking my dog and I got a call from my mother saying, I can't do it. They're gonna tie her down, the insurance is kicking her out. We got 2 hours and she's fully conscious. They have to tie her hands down because she keeps pulling her oxygen mask away. But she's gonna go to a retirement facility basically to die. I said some words to my mother that I hadn't said since I was like a 13-year-old brat, but they involved get your big girl pants on because the best gift you can give someone is to help them die. She hung up on me appropriately and then called me back 5 minutes later and said, come help. And if you haven't done this yet, we all will have to go through this. It's not something anybody can escape. And for those of you that have done it, I'm sorry, because it's very hard. You have to get the ambulance bed and the hospice bed and all the insurance problems and all the bills and all the things you gotta do. My mother and grandmother, my grandmother was on the 6th floor, my mother, my father, my aunts and uncles and I were at Mission Hospital on the 5th floor taking care of all of that. And then my mother and father and my aunts and uncles went out to dinner, and I went up to see my grandmother. She hadn't been conscious for 24 hours. She woke up when I walked in the room. That was the last time I saw her alive. And she kissed this hand 30 times, over and over and over again. She knew I fought for her. I'd like to tell you that dying at home was peaceful for her, but it wasn't. She fought every minute and every day for that last breath as we watched her struggle. And that woman taught me the most 2 beautiful things I've learned my whole life while she died. Number 1, don't be so hard on yourself. We all have to forgive ourselves. Number 2, how dare I walk around half dead in my job or in my life when this 96-year-old woman was struggling just to have a part of this life for any last breath she can. Be alive. Don't let society or our jobs or social media or all the pressures kill our souls. Be alive. And next time someone annoys you at work, think about their little kid picture and be kinder. Thank you very much. It was very nice.